All right, welcome back, everybody, to a Culz Reviews episode. This one's going to be a little bit different, just because the weather is pretty bad outside tonight, and there's some colds going around. We didn't want to get everyone sick, so we're going to record over Zoom tonight, and we're delving back into that well that is Project Blue Book. We haven't touched this one in a while, and it's a series that we all enjoy, so we're super excited to get back into it. We're actually going to talk about the drummer of Nirvana, or at least the former drummer of Nirvana. Oh, wait, no, we're not. But we are talking season 1, episode 5, which is titled Foo Fighters, which, yes, is Dave Grohl's band and was, yes, named after the actual Foo Fighter UFOs. Dave Grohl actually has the record Roswell as well. So UFO influences everywhere, and perhaps sometime we can talk to him or talk about him, especially about that Andrew W.K. theory. But let's get into the episode. So this one's it doesn't really follow a sighting. So this one builds off of Fuller, and they're just trying to dive into more of what whatever he's trying to tell them. Because obviously his mind's kind of all over the place. We do learn about that going forward. And we'll get more into that, I guess, towards the spoilers section. But yeah, there's not one real big case, but it does, I guess, reopen the Foo Fighter case just to kind of give them an out as far as not being able to track what they're doing. But as usual, my name is Keegan. Joining me tonight is
Matt.
I'm Sam.
All right, so Matt, since you're the host of Skirts of the Silver Screen as well as True History of the Silver Screen, you're really big into cinema. So how would you rate the acting in this episode?
I love it. Like I said, I think so far, we're 5 episodes in. It's been very high quality acting, I believe. I can't really find too many flaws in it at all.
Yeah, I definitely think there was some really good chess kind of pieces where they were playing off each other really well and really amping up that anxiety level. So there was some good play off of, Hynek and Harding. But Sam, since you're more of the ufologist, obviously you're host of Weekly Abductions, do you want to talk more about what's going on here as far as the UFO aspect?
So basically what is happening is there's a group. Ooh, should I spoil some stuff or no?
Yeah, we'll put a spoiler.
Talk about the group, or should I not talk about that group? Or
no, you can talk about it. I'll put a spoiler.
So basically what is happening is there's a group of essentially ex-Air Force or kind of disbanded Air Force, forcefully disbanded from the Air Force, that were in contact or had a what they technically call a firefight, but they were calling it Foo Fighters in the episode. But technically they had a dogfight with Crafts, or attempted dogfight with Crafts, and then their systems were being shut down and all of their equipment was malfunctioning, which from a lot of cases of kind of dogfights or firefights up in the sky with unknown crafts, that tends to happen where their weapons either won't fire or their whole system just shut down. And they end up kind of creating something that we'll talk about more later that could potentially contact crafts, even though I just talked about it.
Yeah, well, once we get to that part is, I don't know, that part's a little confusing. We'll get to it because there's 2 ways I think one can take it. But we'll dive into that more later on. So before we do get into heavy spoilers, why don't we just tell the fans what we rate and recommend it? Matt, we'll start with you.
This episode, again, like I said, very well done. Give it an 8.5, 9 right there.
What about you, Sam?
I mean, usual 10 out of 10. Let's be honest here. That's not a shocker there.
Always 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I would probably say a 7.5 out of 10. Just because coming off of the last episode, with all the NASA stuff, it does kind of feel almost lost, almost like a filler episode to me. But it still does have a lot of good stuff to it. Just that NASA episode was so good.
Yes, but you can't discount this as a filler because it's kind of just explaining more of the story of just like the whole project itself. Like it's just this is their experiences and it's going from like one part to the next and explaining things that were just like the stuff that happens in the background. So yes, it is a filler, but at the same time it is also like needed to understand more of what is to come since
Yeah.
I've watched all of these ahead of time.
All right, so we've kind of gone over the basics, but let's kind of get more spoilery and dive a little bit more into it. So if you guys are watching now and don't want to be spoiled, just keep a lookout for that spoiler warning that's appearing on the screen now. And it'll be there until we are done talking about spoilers, so you have been warned. All right, so Matt, anything kind of spoilery you want to talk about going into this?
Well, I forget the military guy's name, but the one that like set himself on fire.
Fuller.
Fuller. It's kind of a little funny how you could right away tell it went to a prop because as soon as he was on fire, there was literally no body movement whatsoever. Like the arms were frozen outward. I would think anyone, even if you set yourself on fire, you would have some sort of reaction to the burning, you know?
Well, it kind of was playing into the whole aspect of since they did like back in what was it? I think it was episode was it 1 or 2? Man, I forget.
Was it because Fuller
One where
dogfight was
Hynek-
one?
It was the one where Hynek finds the facility. Wasn't that the first episode?
Was that the first, or was that that wasn't the Flatwoods one, was it?
No,
Maybe it was episode 3 with Lubbock.
no, I don't think it was that late. I kind of want to say
Maybe
it
it is
was.
one.
I don't know. We'll have to fact check that and then kind of get back to you guys. Sorry, we are kind of forgot that.
Yeah, it's
But
the first one in a while. We're good.
yeah, but it's basically talking about like how he found that like mind control device, and then Fuller explains that like did he destroy it since like obviously he thought since they were there that they might have destroyed it, but it gets back into that mind control thing, whereas like towards the end, Dr. Hynek might have flipped his switch. So like if you were that farly mind controlled, your body probably wouldn't have a reaction because it's not like physically there, but I can't really say for sure. But it does play into that whole thing, like where it's like something just like programmed in you to where you won't have a reaction, and it just is like you have to fulfill it. Because if you were able to have a conscience and like move and panic, then you could break from it. But if it was that much of a mind control, you would be unable to kind of stop yourself or have a reaction from it.
Yeah, and it sort of teases like the MK Ultra stuff, the Manchurian Candidate kind of stuff. So hopefully soon we'll kind of get some answers to that and kind of build up going into season 2, especially, kind of more of the stuff that's happening. Yeah, Sam knows. Sam,
So
anything spoiler wise that you want to talk about?
probably that transmitter that those dudes made. Like that device was really interesting. What happened in that thing was also pretty interesting. Because like I get how Hynek and Quinn think it's lights, but at the same time, some of that really doesn't make sense with how the things were moving, or like the lights in there were moving. Like, yes, it did kind of look like lights, but at the same time, with the fog, you would see more of it, and they wouldn't be circles. But like, then again, it's really hard to say. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
see, that's the part I kind of want to talk about too, because that's a scene where you can, I think, take it one of two ways. Either Hynek does disprove it and tell them what he really believes, or he kind of just says something to kind of close their ties and feel, because I don't know if he's quite sure of Quinn right now. So kind of just, make it feel like the case is closed and not really get them in trouble. Now I do know like that type of stuff. There are places you can go to and actually see lights like that happening because of car lights and stuff. So it's definitely very possible. And then there's other places where there's just strange lights, Still a lot that we don't know about the universe. So yeah, it's one of those that it could be taken either way, I think.
Yeah, and the fact like how they turned on when it makes sense for like car lights, because like they kind of just like appeared out of a spot. Given we don't know how the road looks, but like as far as I remember, they don't really cross paths like a road. It was very interesting, and it was also a part where Quinn was even starting to question some things himself as well. So when they got back to the car, he was kind of thrown off by like how frightened they all were from
Yeah.
their stories, which normally is not the case with some like fights in the skies with things.
I mean, he shot at them when they appeared at his doorstep.
Yeah, once they admitted that they were from the Air Force, they
Just
that
like,
one dude opened fire.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, no, so I think, this definitely closes some ties going forward, or at least mainly like 95% closes the ties and definitely opens now the series to, I guess, focusing on some more storylines going forward. But the Fuller stuff now is pretty much complete, unless there's zombies, which there's not zombies, but there's probably going to be some PTSD and stuff like that coming forward. So, uh,
Mhm.
yeah, no, I think we're all pretty excited. What you guys say?
Now,
Yeah.
one thing we should not forget to mention is the part with the Russian spies.
Oh yeah, we totally forgot about that one. That was another really good like tension scene where she goes downstairs and you just see Quinn like walk and you see that gun come into focus.
Hmm.
It just like perfect build of tension, I think.
And the fact that like it's just more questions on if the girl is even like she's there for the mission, but it also kind of seems that there might be like a connection there, maybe
And pesky
between the
neighbors,
Heineken family. Oh yeah, and then neighbors that are just clearly assuming that they're probably Russian spies at this point because they were like, "What is Heineken? Is that?"
Slovakian, I think she said. Slavic, she said Slavic.
Yeah,
And she was like, no, because they were, I guess the
Slavic.
neighborhood was all talking that it might be house arrest or something.
Yeah, but if it was house arrest, the military wouldn't be there. I don't think.
Right. So that's probably why they were like, oh, Russian spies. But we'll see. Where does her meddling and kind of nosing into everyone's, you know, lives get her to? I mean, we've seen her kind of butt into a few episodes, so I'm sure
Mhm.
this is going to be another through line that we'll see pay off at some point.
Well, that's how it was back then during that time too. If you were doing something suspicious, you had to be Russian. That was the biggest paranoia back then.
Yeah.
I still like the air or the bomb shelter.
Oh,
It's
you
like an
mean
inside out like shed. Hey,
yeah, basically.
we could go build one and be like, we're recreating a bomb shelter.
I mean, not opposed. Yeah, those bomb shelters are weird because it has shelves on the inside, but looks like
Inside out.
it looks like the inside is on the outside. Yeah, it's a very confusing shelter. Let's
Right.
not lie.
We should find a real one and be like, is this true? Is this what it really looks like? All right. So anything else you guys want to say before we end off this episode?
Oh, good series so far. Very much enjoyed the first 5.
Sam, what about you?
Uh, I can't think of anything at the moment.
Yeah, and I just think it's a good series, like Matt said, and it's definitely driving interest, I will say, in a lot of different ideas and topics that hopefully this year we can cover. I know we're going to be getting back into weekly abductions soon, so it's going to be a little good warm up for the audience to kind of get back into those waters. And there's a pretty big location that it looks like we're going to be journeying back down to, hopefully capturing some more cool stuff. As far as Matt,
Yeah, the
we're going to get
UFO
some
watchtower.
what?
The UFO watchtower.
Hell yeah. I like that. The black lights and there's that other one pretty close by Alien Zone. Oh, you're talking. I was thinking you're talking the
It's
Blacklight
like,
Museum in
wait.
Roswell. You're talking the one by the sand dunes. We should go down there. That's not too far.
Yeah, no, we do definitely plan to do that this year at some point. But no, that what was that thing even called? Man, I'm being
The
very
spacewalk.
spacey right now. Yeah, the spacewalk. That's it. Yeah, we'll be back at the spacewalk. See if they got more blacklight things, which obviously they will.
Considering what I see them post on Instagram, it seems like they've added a little bit, or at least they got festive during the holidays.
I mean, they should have.
Right. But then, yeah, there's the Alien Zone. Perhaps we can hit a couple movie places for Matt. Matt can tell you guys a little bit, some movie history and some Hollywood history, some fun stuff like that. But until next time, if you guys want to see more Culz reviews, click that link to your left. If you want to see more Project Blue Book reviews, click that bottom left link. If you want to see more about us here at Culz Paranormal, click that link to your right. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe.
And switch that notification bell from personalized to all if you want to be notified on all of our videos.
And let us know, where do you think this series is going to end up going? And what's been your favorite episode so far? And also, very, very important, this question. Should Sam do an episode in Roswell, guest starring Andrew W.K.? Let us know, comments below right now.